If you're a legal permanent resident, or let's say you have a parent that's a legal permanent resident and you want to find out, can they take the exam for the citizenship to naturalize to a citizen of the US in Spanish, in the language that they understand best? We're going to be discussing that in this video, so keep on watching so you can get all the information, okay? So I know for a lot of people, if you're watching this video, you likely don't need to take it in Spanish, but let's say you have a family member, a grandparent, a parent, a sibling who has questions about what are the exact requirements. So I want to show, this is a screen for the N400, the naturalization application, and pretty much there's 3 different ways that you as a resident can become a citizen and take the exam in Spanish. The first way is you have to be at least 50 years of age or older, and you have to have been a resident for at least 20 years. So 50, 20, over the age of 50, 20 years at least of being a resident, okay? The second way, you have to be at least 55 years or older and have been a resident for at least 15 years in the US. The third way, you're over the age of 65 and you have been a resident for at least 20 years. Sometimes a follow-up question is like, well, where do I find the exact date that I became a resident? How do I figure that out? I think it was this year. The way you can figure that out is you go get your legal permanent resident card, and it's going to have 2 dates. So, it's going to have your full name. On the bottom, it's going to have the card expires on this date and you've been a resident since this date. This is a little blurry, but let me try to pull one up that's a little cleaner. So right here is a better example. The card expires on this date. You've been a resident since this date. So of course you're gonna know the date of birth. Make sure that it qualifies for one of those categories, either the 50-20, 55-15, or 65-20. And then resident since, that's the day that you are going to use to determine, all right, from this day up until today, how many years do I have? And if you have, the appropriate time, then it's likely you're going to be able to take it in Spanish. What I'll say too is, if you're watching this video right now and you're learning something, let me know by hitting that like button. It helps a lot. It shows it to other people that have the same similar question, okay? The last thing I'll say, so if you remember the 50-20, 55-15, 65-20, for the last category, let's say the person is over the age of 65, the benefit that these people have, because they're a little bit older, they are able to take the exam, but at most the questions that they can ask them, it's going to be 20 questions that they're going to have to learn. Of course, at max, they can ask 10 questions. They have to get 6 right. But in comparison, if you take the naturalization exam, and generally it's going to be at max 100 questions that you're going to have to learn. Of course, they're not going to ask you 100, at most 10. But if you don't qualify for that 65-20 rule, then they could ask you at max 100 questions. You have to learn, you have to study more. In comparison, for the 65-20, at most 20 questions, because they're a little bit older, it makes it a little bit easier, okay? Hopefully this helped. Hopefully you feel a little bit more prepared as to whether you or your family member is going to be able to take it in Spanish. There's other videos up here that discuss citizenship, that discuss, what is the interview like? And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you want to make a consultation to discuss more about your case, all that information is in the description. Hopefully this was helpful. God bless, and until next time.